back, Syndicate members. I'm Joshua Mammoth, here to review another independent comic book. It's that time of year again where the Mammoth enjoys drink and merriment among friends and family, and with that being said, help spread the merriment with a copy of A Kung Fruit Christmas Carol, and find out how Frog Genius puts the dick back in Dickens. And now let's get down to business. I thought to start the holidays off with a review of another Gutt Ghost entitled Trouble with the Sawbuck Skeleton Society, created by Enzo Garza, published by Scott Comics, because nothing brings holiday cheer quite like gastrointestinal superpower. The cover on this one-shot is pretty remarkable, and not just the art. Both the Gutt Ghost logo and Guts himself have a fluorescent coating that glow in the dark. Seriously, even the back Gutt Ghost has it. Okay, time to dive into this biscuit. Right off from the first page, we see the marvelous stylized art of Gutt Ghost provided by the talented Enzo. And the story begins with Lydia here, the one not getting ripped in half. And we find out two things right away. Her jokes suck, and she owes a heady debt. On the page flip, though, we see Gutt Ghost, Video Howdy, and Sprung Bat in the iconic Gutt Ghost living room. Video Howdy may sound a bit familiar. He's the guy that Gutt Ghost borrowed his TV from in the Stabbity Bunny Gutt Ghost one-shot. Anyway, the transition to the TV here in the first panel is why I love Enzo's art. All the little hidden gems to find. I noticed the Jabba figure on top of my grandma's TV first, and I'm beginning to think that Enzo loves Jabba. Remember the guy in the Jabba mask from the Stabbity Bunny Gutt Ghost one-shot? Anyways, from the records to the figures on top and the VHS setup, I find myself looking over this panel for several minutes. The three discuss whether the Sawbuck Skeleton Society from the movie is based on or inspired by real events, when Video Howdy reveals that his video store has been closed for about a year. To thwart Sprung Bat's statements about video rental, Howdy lists a number of video stores still in the area, but oddly leaves one off. Now the next page here gives us some real inside information on Gutt Ghost. First, Video Howdy tells Gutt Ghost that possessions have been good to him all these centuries. Video Howdy follows that up by saying there's no shame in what he has under there. Divine power. Divine. Well, Video Howdy ends by saying don't hide it, be proud, which is just good advice. And here's where things get interesting and kind of weird, as Video Howdy asks Gutt Ghost about his legs, and Enzo delivers with this hilarious splash page. After a minute of doing the Gutman, practically causing Video Howdy to hurl from laughing, we learned something rather unexpected about Gutt Ghost. Gutt Ghost, like Sprung Bat, can asexually reproduce. So I remembered a panel from the Gutt Ghost Stabbity Bunny one-shot where there was a tagline, Gutt Ghost has a son, CGG Sawbuck. Later on at Burger Bets, home of the big old bets, Gutt Ghost is approached by none other than the Sawbuck Skeleton Society. They either knew Gutt Ghost as Windsor Badweather or are having a mistaken identity. It doesn't really matter, as Windsor took a loan out from the Sawbucks that didn't pay, and now they're here to collect. So they may talk privately, the Sawbucks take Gutt Ghost into what only can be described as a phallic hell. Enzo really delivers some fracking amazing splash pages here, especially this biscuit. 2 full pages. Check out this guy here with the gut crown. This skull here directs Gutt Ghost to follow him further and discuss Windsor. And upon turning the page, this masterpiece. There's a ton of brilliant narration here, but I'll sum it up. Windsor Badweather took out a debt with the Sawbucks, and Gutt Ghost now possesses his body. Hence, he owes the debt, and you can't run from a Sawbuck debt. Luckily for Gutt Ghost, though, the Sawbuck Skeleton Society would rather make a deal, as they find him more valuable in Gutt Ghost than Windsor. And basically they'll overlook the debt if Gutt Ghost joins up, and with a very careful consideration, he agrees. It seems like everything is good to go when one of the Sawbuck ghouls cranks up his boombox and brings Gutt Ghost back to Burger Bats. And that's when Gutt Ghost shouts, Sprung, Berserker Regurge. Sprumbat responds with order up, and well, a picture is worth 1,000 words. With the regurg mayhem going on, Gutt Ghost begins to look for Little Gutt and finds a much bigger, much more articulate version. And on their reunion, Gutt Ghost says, "Let's get out of here, son." And concerned for Sprumbat, Gutt Ghost replies, "I think he'll be okay." And we see on the last splash page that Sprumbat is indeed okay. Now it's time for my favorite segment, what I liked about Gutt Ghost's Trouble with the Sawbuck Skeleton Society. The splash pages in this book are incredible, and if any of you have ever read through a Mammoth Syndicate book, you know I'm a huge fan of colorful splash pages, and Gutt Ghost definitely came through. The second thing was the fluorescent cover, as it really brought me back to the special edition covers in the 90s. Next is what I really liked about this book. The background of Gutt Ghost and not knowing a lot about this character really helped in the enjoyment of this book. And the story is hilariously rancid, but also it had me in stitches. The power of Sprumbat, if you could call it a power, because I certainly wasn't expecting this berserker regurg as the way that Gutt Ghost and Son escaped from the Sawbuck Skeleton Society. But that's also what I really liked about this book. And lastly is what I loved about Gutt Ghost's Trouble with the Sawbuck Skeleton Society. Well, cover to cover, it was glorious guts and jokes. But what I thoroughly enjoyed about this book was the art. Enzo always found new ways throughout this book to have Gutt Ghost show off his glorious gut gam. Lil Gutt was also another surprise that was just awesome. One more look at this splash page. I did mention it earlier, but Enzo directs us in which way to read as Gutt Ghost and the skull change appearances. Like here, which was created by a 6-year-old named Abbott, and here, when the skull turns into a pizza slice. So to sum it up, with the jokes, the massive splash art, and all the little gems contained within the covers, makes this book one hell of a holiday read. And you may be asking yourself, what makes this a holiday book? Well, I read it sitting under mistletoe, drinking spiked eggnog, wearing this hat, while my wife was baking cookies in a Mrs. Claus outfit. And I'd like to give a special thank you out to Enzo for once again allowing me to review his work. Support independent comics. You can get your very own Gutt Ghost and Stabbity Bunny comics at scoutcomics.com, and I strongly suggest you do. Links are in the description. If you're in the Central Florida area, stop into Blackbird Comics. Tell Enzo how awesome Gutt Ghost is, and tell him Joshua Mammoth sent you. On an upcoming episode, I'll have a special guest, my Mammoth Syndicate counterpart, the question wrapped inside an enigma, Paulo Rosales. So make sure you catch us on this show, because we'll be discussing all things Mammoth. A Kung Fruit Christmas Carol is available at my store at mammothsyndicate.com. Help spread the merriment. And if you'd like to be part of the Mammothverse, make sure you like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so your anxiety about getting your Mammoth needs will lower. Remember, Syndicate members, that between the known and the unknown lies the Mammoth. I'll see you next time.